Good afternoon, I'm Ron Trevino. Our top story, 4 minutes and 37 seconds. That's how close Texas was from a total power grid collapse last week. It was confirmed today at the ERCOT board meeting. Marcelino Benito listened in. He joins us live now. Marcelino.
Well, Ron, we all know last week was absolutely awful, but ERCOT telling us today things could have been far worse for a lot longer. 4 minutes and 37 seconds. ERCOT revealing tonight that's how close Texas was from a total collapse of its power grid.
Controlled outages were implemented to prevent a statewide blackout. The only tools that we had to maintain control and not slip into a blackout in a much worse condition was these outages.
For the first time since last week's deadly freeze, ERCOT CEO Bill Magnus breaking down its response to the historic winter storm.
We started to see challenges. A lot of generation began to drop off. And as the storm system was blowing through the state, and one generator after another reported that they were tripped off, they were not able to operate.
A total of 356 generators went offline, most not winterized, leaving millions in the cold without power for a record nearly 71 hours in the state. Board members admit it led to deaths, and that's unacceptable.
It created a humanitarian crisis. So I want to find a solution to this problem. It's imperative that we do. People in Texas should not have to endure such hardships, or anywhere for that matter, in 2021.
The fallout already swift. So far, 5 board members have indicated they will resign their positions. Some board members say communication about what was coming should have been more urgent and clear.
The concerns with regard to the upcoming weather event should have been communicated more specifically. And I feel, as a board member, very frustrated that did not occur.
A lot of finger pointing during today's meeting and not a lot of specifics as to how things will change. What the board does agree is the public deserves answers and solutions.
It affects everybody on the system, and it affects, most importantly, the people who we serve. And they were not well served for those days when the outages could not move.
Now, had that statewide blackout happen, ERCOT telling us tonight it's likely we'd still be in the dark right now, and it likely would have lasted for more weeks, if not longer. Back to you.
How scary is that? All right, thank you so much, Marcelino Benito.